Quality assurance, but not the first item that was on the agenda of the European University Initiative, and it was not mentioned as such in the initiative itself. It is thanks to the quality assurance agencies that have raised awareness about quality assurance in this topic, and it is thanks to their networks, meaning ENQA, the network for quality assurance agencies in Europe, but also ECA, the European Consortium for Accreditation, European quality agencies in the field of accreditation, that have really put quality assurance in the core element of the European Universities Initiative. And there were several meetings and discussions, and during the discussion, it was clearly emphasized that there were some key elements to keep in mind. The first one is that coordination would be something that would be even more requested in this new landscape. Coordination between ministries, between higher education institutions, and of course between quality assurance agencies. And the second core element that was emphasized is also a risk. The risk that there would be some kind of competition between the actors, between universities and institutions, of course, but also between quality assurance agencies in Europe. European universities are building alliances, and they are already facing new challenges. Some of them are emerging progressively, some maybe were there at the very beginning. To give you some examples of the challenges that they are facing in the field of quality assurance, I think the first one to be mentioned is the one regarding joint and double diplomas. Some of the alliances are planning to deliver joint or double programs, and the question is, who is in charge of accrediting or evaluating them? Is it necessary or not? How to proceed, and who is in charge of that? And of course, the European approach for quality assurance of joint programs can serve as a basis, as a tool, as a facilitator, but things are not always going so smoothly. So this is a tool that has to be used, but also sometimes to be adapted to each of the situation. So this is the first challenge. I think the second one is dealing with the overlaying of different mechanisms in the alliance, mechanism of quality assurance, mechanism of governance that are in the universities, but also in the alliance. Meaning that how to make sure that this work together, how to coordinate that in a short but also long-term approach, and is this something that is going to be sustainable, and is this something that we will have to evaluate in the future? Do the universities also want to get into that? And this is really related to the third challenge that I can see, and the third challenge is really an institutional one. Is it planned to evaluate or to accredit the European universities as such as they are? This is already discussed in some forums, and really the question is, who is going to evaluate, or if they are evaluated, of course, who is going to evaluate these European universities? Is it the role of the member states? Is it the role of the quality assurance agencies? Is it something that the universities want to keep with itself? This is really some open questions that are really on the agenda today, and this is crucial for the future landscape of higher education and quality assurance. This is some example of challenges in the field of quality assurance that have to be faced and tackled. Concretely speaking, Hcéres supports the higher education institutions involved in the European initiative in different ways. The first way is that Hcéres is a partner of a European project. This European project is called UNIQUE, and the ultimate goal of UNIQUE is to provide a European approach for the evaluation of European university, and also to provide a dedicated framework for the evaluation of these aliens. There will be some pilots in the very next future, and we will try to keep in mind the developments of the European project and try to see how they can be useful for our universities and institutions. The second way for us to be involved in the European initiative is the idea that it is important to make sure that the French voice is to be heard in the European area, and this is something that Hcéres is trying to do with our national partners and counterparts also, and this also refers to research, and the idea that research can also be something that has to be developed in the European universities. The third way of action is really much more tailor-made solution. It is my pleasure to try to find solution for the institutions, the French institutions that contact us and that they are already involved in their alliances, and they sometimes face very general questions, for example, about the application of the European approach, but also sometimes also very specific question, and we are trying to give them solutions when we can find them. And it is really the role and the willingness of Hcéres to support the French higher education institutions involved in the alliances and help them both for their national evaluation, but also because they are taking part in a more general and in a European landscape, and helping them in this European process for evaluation or for accreditation.